Pouring concrete can seem like an intimidating job, but once you know the steps, you can do it yourself. Hi, I'm Brian, and today we'll be pouring a concrete slab in this backyard for a new patio area. And I'll take you through each of those steps in detail so you'll be able to tackle any concrete job yourself. Concrete can be damaging to your skin, so be sure to wear gloves and eye protection. And wear a mask when you're working with dry concrete mix. Also, call 811 to check for underground utilities before you start digging. First, we need to plan and prep. Our concrete slab will be 10 feet by 8 feet, located in this area here. I have my measuring tape, some string, some stakes, and some marking paint. Measure to establish your corner. Then we can put 2 stakes past that point at each corner and wrap the stakes with our string line to find the exact points. To make sure our corners are square, we can use the 3-4-5 method. Measure 3 feet from the corner in one direction and mark it. Then measure 4 feet from the corner in the other direction and mark it. The distance between these two needs to be exactly 5 feet. We can double check that our corners are square by measuring the 2 diagonals. Both diagonals should be the exact same length. Then, we can mark our perimeter. Now that we have our patio marked correctly, we need to dig out the soil. We want to dig down at least 4 inches below the surface and make sure you get any roots and organic matter out of there. We don't want that growing up into our concrete. Also, pick the right day. Concrete does best at moderate temperatures, so look for a day with no rain, overcast if possible, and temperatures around 50 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Avoid direct sunlight and extreme temperatures if you can. Next, we need to build a form, which is a wooden box to keep the concrete in place while it dries. We set our perimeter line for the edge of the slab, so when we set our stakes, we want to set them at 1.5 inches away from the line. You can use your tape measure or use a scrap piece of 2x4 to get your distance and hammer away. Screw the stakes to the form to make sure it doesn't move. I'm adding stakes in the center to ensure that these longer boards don't bow outward when we pour the concrete. Use a long level to get everything flat, but if your slab is close to or directly touching your house, then it needs to slope away from the house slightly. It should run down about 1/4 inch per foot. Then we want to add gravel to the bottom of our slab for stability. I recommend drainage rock. It embeds into the concrete better than the round pebble style. You want to have a 4-inch bed of gravel underneath your slab. Tamp the gravel down with a tamper. Make sure your gravel stays at or below the original ground level. This is rebar. It is a metal rod that provides additional tensile strength to our concrete. For a smaller patio like this one that won't have a lot of weight on it, it might not be necessary. But I'm going to install it anyway so I can show you how to do it. We want to create a grid of rebar inside the concrete. So I will lay out my rebar pieces in a square pattern and connect them with wire at the joints. I'm raising the whole grid up on these small rebar chairs so the rebar can float in the middle of the concrete instead of sitting at the bottom. The grid shouldn't go all the way to the edge. Be sure to leave about 3 to 4 inches between the metal and the form. A question you'll run into pretty quick is how many bags of concrete should I buy? Lowe's has a great calculator that you can use to figure it out. For a patio like this, I'm aiming for a 4-inch thick slab. I can use the concrete calculator to figure out exactly how many bags I need. Empty the bag and add water. If your concrete looks like this, it's too wet. Add more of your concrete mix. If your concrete looks like this, it's too dry. Add more water. This is what we're going for, like a thick peanut butter or oatmeal consistency. Wet down your gravel and form with a hose. Then pour your concrete into the form. Use a rake and shovel to spread it evenly in the form. I'm hitting the form with a hammer to make sure that there are no voids or air pockets in the middle. Screeding your concrete is next. This basically means using a straight edge to level out the slab. This will also bring the cream layer to the top for a smooth finish. Get a really straight 2x4 and rest it on your form. Slide the board across the surface of your concrete in a sawing motion. Fill in any low spots as you go. You only want to add wet concrete to wet concrete. Do not let part of it dry before adding more. Otherwise, you will have an unsightly crack between those sections. Next, we want to use a float. This is a tool that will smooth and compact the surface to prepare the slab for final finishing. This one is called a bull float, and we will use it right after screeding. I'm going perpendicular to the screed and keeping it really light and smooth. You want the trailing edge to contact the concrete, so the back edge will be down as you push it away, and the front edge will be down as you pull it back. For a smaller pad, you can use a hand float instead. It's the same basic idea, but with a smaller tool. Before our concrete sets up, we want to establish our edge. For that, we will use this tool. It's a concrete edger. I have a magnesium hand float here as well, and we will use these together. Flatten the edge of the pad with the float, resting it on the form. Then we come through with the edger. Seat it against the form and slightly tip the edger as you move it along to keep it from digging in. Go back and forth a few times, and then we can use the hand float to gently remove that line we made. For this particular slab, we want to add a control joint. This joint will relieve the pressure, ensuring the slab doesn't crack elsewhere. I'm going to place one joint in the center of this slab, and I can use this jointing tool to add it in. It is a similar process to the edging tool. Just slide it back and forth and then smooth out the line with the float. Next, we will add texture to the slab. This will make it slip resistant when it gets wet. Using a concrete broom, gently sweep the surface to create the finished texture. This is the traditional method to finish concrete. But if you want to elevate the look of your patio, then you can add a smooth trowel finish with cut control joints instead. A trowel finish is smoother, but the texture is similar to a paver patio and will provide plenty of traction. We want to wait until the concrete is more set. Then remove the form. The concrete needs to cure, and we want to make sure that that happens at a nice, slow, even rate. There are a couple ways to do this. You can hose down the pad with water several times a day for the first week. This will allow the moisture to evaporate more slowly and avoid cracking. If you can't water it that often, you can cover your slab with 4mm plastic sheeting. Wet it down and place the sheeting on top and hold it in place with some anchors. This way, you can just add water once a day and replace the sheeting to hold the moisture in. Another option is a curing compound like this one. Apply this with a garden sprayer or roller, and it will create a protective barrier on the slab that will help it dry at the correct rate. Fill in the dirt around the slab. Avoid walking on the slab for at least 24 hours. And don't put any heavy weight on it for at least 10 days. Also, don't add any paints, stains, or sealers right away. Give it a month to completely harden. Since I'm doing a trowel finish patio, once it is dry, I'll use a diamond blade on my saw to cut the control joint. You only need one control joint on a patio this size, but since I'm a pro, I'm going to add some more cut lines to make a really cool pattern for our finished space. I'm adding some furniture and finishing touches, and we're ready to enjoy our patio. Pouring a concrete slab is a big job, but it's definitely one you can handle yourself. And once complete, you have a beautiful outdoor space to enjoy, and you have a new DIY skill to add to your resume. All the tools and materials you need are available at Lowe's or on Lowes.com. And before you go, please like this video and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what other how-to videos you'd like to see in the future.